Hello RC fans, racing you know who, 393. I say that every time. Anyway, we're on to part 6 of my TA01 build, which has been going on now for a number of weeks. Because, well, the main reason is I can't get hold of the stuff at the time to complete it in one long video. And if I did that, I'd have no videos coming out. So it's getting to that time of year now where it's, you know, it's not as warm out. Although we are supposed to get like an Indian summer in like September. We are in September, so we're still waiting. Yeah, so these sort of outdoor videos are going to be coming less and more build videos. Because when you build, like I'd say vintage RC cars, parts, although they're available, they're not readily available, so you have to order them from various places. But we're on to part 6. We're going to install the electrics. So the first thing we're going to do there, you can see by the picture that's just behind me there, is put the ESC on. Now this ESC is period correct for perhaps the TA02, funny enough. That ESC wouldn't have been out TA01 era, but I'm kind of replicating a car that I had. Now the thing is, I've had a couple of comments which has been really helpful, stating that this is the original car from back in a couple of videos ago, like video 2 or 3 now, is a TA02, and you're correct. It was actually sold to me as a TA01 on the listing, and it was with Buyee. And at the time, I was sort of thinking to myself, I'm not sure the difference. I couldn't remember the difference more than anything. I mean, I remember now, but at the time I couldn't remember the difference. So I then went ahead and bought a load of TA01 hop-ups. Some of those would fit a TA02. There's some that didn't, which then I realised the sort of the differences. So during the course of the video, a TA01 chassis. So hence why that I might have referred it to as a TA01 and it was a TA02, but it's just a case of learning and relearning what I used to know back in the day. But let's get on to the video where we start installing the electrics, ESC, receiver and servo, and getting it up to a running chassis in this video. I think we're on part 6. I've sort of been building so many of these, well 2, and I've done quite a lot of work. I'm forgetting, but this is part 6. Just to recap, the diff went in. It was a bit tight. It's like the width with the upgraded, was it a top force housing, if you like, and when you sort of put them together, I don't think it quite fitted flush with the diff itself, like the gear. So it is, in my opinion, a bit tight in there. So when you turn the wheels, I mean, I've redone the mesh on the end motor. I still think it's a bit tight, but the diffs are amazing. Well, yeah, diffs, the gear diff, smooth, and the rear ball diff. It's really good. So what we're going to do now is start to work on some electrics, which means getting into this. So this is the Tekin electronic speed controller. It's the 410 S2 from, I don't know, when did I say this was out? I did look it up, didn't I, and did that video, but if I think of it, I'll put a link in the description. The box says copyright 1993. It's probably the same similar era to when the TA01 was 91, the TA02 was 1992, I think, 3, somewhere around there, I can't remember. So this would have been with the sort of the second, the TA02 chassis, which isn't this one as it happens. But so I think what we'll do is let's get this. You've seen it anyway, but we'll get it out of the box. So you can see it's a really nice clean example. Now the person that sold this to me used this for racing. I think he did truggies or something. So it's been fitted with like modern connectors, battery and motor, which is what I'll do that anyway. Saves cutting this one off. On the side here, it's got just simply battery positive and battery negative, and motor positive and negative on there, which you can hopefully see. So it's fairly straightforward. The two middle ones, so it's blue and red. So that one there is the motor. So I think the first thing to do is probably cut these back. So I'll do that. I'll do that now. There you go, the wiring's done. I'll explain why the wires are so long in a minute, but well, it'll go kind of there-ish, and I'll tidy the wiring up. There's a little bit of a story with the wiring, but I seem to remember it going there anyway. It could go there. I think that's the preferred location there, to be honest, but that wasn't as easy as it seemed. But let me explain. So for some reason I had real issues soldering. Now I say for some reason, I wouldn't say I'm a great solderer by any stretch. In fact, I do, if I'm honest, I struggle with soldering. But I think I've done all the soldering on the cars over the years, and this one really sort of tested me. I think it's got to something to do with, you know, just what I was doing in my technique. You know, I can't blame anything. You know, the soldering iron that I was using works. You know, it does what it does. I think the wires I had initially on that electric motor were just a little bit too thick, so I changed them. I mean, you can see there on the picture that's just behind me there. It looks like it's almost done, but in fact it wasn't. The black wire that's attached. Is it attached? Yeah, the black wire's attached. It does look like the red wire's attached. Well, it is actually. The red wire is attached, but it's not attached to the other end. But I took those off, those wires, and put just thinner gauge wire on there for now. The soldering iron seems to work fine, and I've got like two separate bits of solder. One's leaded and one's unleaded. Don't know. I think I'm also. I think I need flux. I'm pretty sure I bought flux, but I can't find it. So I think half it is what I was doing. Anyway, it took forever, and I mean, I don't give up. I never give up on things. I keep going. And with RC, if you get to the point where you're a little bit frustrated, you can like walk away, can't you? It's not the end of the world, is it? But because you get everything out with the soldering iron, it's all sort of heated up and in and there and that and plugged in and where you want it, and to pack it all away, and got stuff everywhere on my desk, my workbench. Oh, I just didn't want to give up. Anyway, long story short, I did manage it eventually, but it's got a thinner wire, that red wire you can see there, and the black wire. Well, I took those off and put a thinner gauge wire on. The only thing is, one of the wires I had was long enough, and I was being a bit stingy. I didn't want to sort of bother to search for all through me other when all the new wiring is. I should have done new wires, shouldn't I? But I just put two together. and made a bit of a sleeve, and it seemed to work. And that's why the wiring on the motor is quite long, because it's easy to get to. And I didn't want to arse around with the ESC and start cutting off what had already been put on there. And it's done, it's been there a while since that ESC has been used, and whoever's done it done a really good job. So I didn't want to sort of muck that up. So that's why it ended up like a big long spaghetti version of what could have been much neater. What I'll do is just make sure the wiring's tidy. That's not all everywhere like a spaghetti junction. So anyway, let's get back to it.
Well, who'd have thought using flux as a thing? I didn't like the fact that that wire was really long, so I've just literally just trimmed it back and wired it directly to the motor with it, because it had a plug, and it was quite long. I thought it would have been alright, but I was actually losing sleep over that. So yeah, it does look a lot better. I've got to stick it down, which I'll do now. Got one of those cheapy Chinese receivers, which doesn't go very far, but it doesn't matter. It's not a speed run car. And I've got a digital servo here. Now this wasn't for this. This is far too good for this. This was supposed to be for the Fan RC, the RC10 copy. Just try and open it. I mean, there you go. Looks a little bit like those cheap Chinese ones, but it's not cheap. It's like 50 odd pound, I think, 50 UK pounds. But yeah, haven't got round to buying a servo, to be honest. I haven't been in the shed for like over a week, nearly 2 weeks. Been too busy. So anyway, I'm gonna stick that on, mount the servo. I suppose I better pair this. Well, that'll be with the Sanwa, won't it? So we'll put it on, and then, well, I suppose see if it works. Thing is, this is designed, I think, to have a servo here, which is what this little roller thing here is supposed to sit on, with a cable tie. Otherwise it kind of, this torque converter sort of moves a little bit, which is a bit, I might have to see if I can fit that onto something else, because it's supposed to spin inside a cable tie. It's a bit of a weird setup. I didn't even think that was a thing. But anyway, right, I've got a few things I need to do. I'll be back when it's kind of almost complete. But it should be actually ready to go, shouldn't it, really? But will it be that easy? I don't know. Anyway, I'll see in a bit. Okay, well, it's all in. Got to do some wire tidying and what have you, and I've got to move the servo horn, but I'll show you. So steering, although it's going to be slightly out. Throttle with this vintage speed controller. It is running a bit tight, and this vibrates, so I've got to hold. There's a support pulley here, which I need to figure out what to do with that, because it vibrates. But it all works. I'm going to need to sort of free it up a little bit, because it is a bit tight. I think it's the front. I think it's that diff, sort of diff housing, if you like. But there you go. What? Now what? I'm going to probably do the final video. You'll be glad to hear of just tidying up, sorting the steering out. I don't know if I'm going to free it up or not. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it yet. The tyres are glued on. Get the body shell on. and then we're probably, well, it's getting winter. No, it's not quite winter, but it's rubbish weather. So I don't know when I'm going to get these out, but they're both done pretty much. So the next video, whatever final video you're glad to hear, unless it's a really nice day, I don't know if I'm going to get them out running. But well, I think that says it all, because it's been, and it's only on a NIM at the moment, so I'm not going to put it on a LiPo, I don't think, because I'm not sure what this takes. But we're pretty much there. I've got to sort this whip for the torque converter. I don't know, there's this pulley which I've shown you before, but there, that pulley there, little white pulley, is supposed to fit onto, like, if you have the electronic speed controller, it goes onto one of the servo parts, and you sort of loop it round and it stops it whipping like this. So I'll figure something out, even if I've got to mount something off of where the servo would have gone, and then put a hole in it or whatever, and then just to sort of stop this bit from whipping. That's still got a spin, but anyway, ta-da! That's the end of this one. God, this has been going forever, isn't it? You'll be fed up with these eventually. We'll be fed up anyway. But yeah, TA01 has come out rather nice in the end. If you want to see what happens in the next and the final sort of build video anyway, I'm not sure about the running part yet, but the build aspect of both these cars, then click that subscribe button or notification bell so that you can notified when the final bit will be done. And that's not on there, but we're getting there. Yeah, see if a part of whatever it is, 6, 7 I think now, but I'll see you next time.